Hey everyone, it's Jorphany, and today we are going to talk about relationship advice. So, one of the things that comes to mind first is communication. So that can go into so many different levels, but even just the simplest things, like, for example, somebody's in here. I know that if I'm going to go to like a business meeting or something, say in the evening on a Monday night, I don't want my wife to be waiting for me at home, and then maybe she's just here when maybe she could have done something. So I'll let her know, like, hey love, tonight I got a business meeting or something like that. That way she could plan something with her family or friends or just have some alone time. So even something that simple, just so that we are on the same page.
Yeah, and it applies to that as well as anything as simple as, have you guys discussed financially? Like, if you guys are planning to move in together, you're gonna get married and you're gonna live together, like financially, like what are you expecting the other person, to maybe be financially contributing to? Is that something you guys have discussed? Maybe, the girl has one idea, the guy has another, and that way you guys are on the same page before you make that leap. That's actually like one of the bigger things, I think. And then it just kind of trickles into everything else, like house chores, who's gonna do what, who's gonna be responsible for what, you know what I mean? So it's just clear communication. That way it's just kind of all laid out before you guys do it.
Yeah, maybe if you're in the earlier stages of your relationship, maybe have you talked about long-term commitment? Is a marriage something that you both want? What about kids? Where do you want to live? Like, what's like the vision for your future? So for us, we decided that we want to have 2 kids, and we're going to have 2 kids so that we don't get outnumbered, like my wife says. And that's important, right? We had 2 of our friends one time, we were at their party, and they have 1 child, and then one of them said, like, oh yeah, I can't wait to have a second child, and the other one was like, a second child?
Yeah.
What do you mean second child? And they almost got into it right in front of us. And something even like that, or even maybe if you're from a particular or specific religion, or maybe you're not, or maybe one person is, talk about that. Do you plan to, I'm very entrepreneur minded, and like, why climb the ladder when you can own the ladder? My wife loves her job, and each of our decisions work for ourselves, but then we decided that for our children, we're going to teach them both options, and then they can decide for themselves. So even something like that.
Yeah, so for sure communication, I think it's extremely big. Number 2 is respect. Anything from like just, snarky comments, yelling, calling each other names. You set the tone at the beginning of your relationship. That's something that just has not ever been part of us. Like, there's just, like yelling or putting hands on each other, or calling each other names, like that's just, it's non-existent because it was set since the beginning of our relationship. So I think that's very, very important. And just respecting one another. I mean, like, you see it time and time again, like you come home and then like it's just like you're tired, and because you're tired, you're cranky and you say things you don't mean, and then it just kind of escalates unnecessarily. If that, respect would have been there since the beginning, you kind of know not to go there.
Also, like going through each other's phones, like we don't go through each other's phones, we just give each other that respect. And when there's trust, you don't need to do that. So that's something else. Another one definitely is a space. And this is very important for us. We see our relationship like 3 circles. There's like my circle, which is like me time, whenever I do things. Like, for example, today in the morning, I went out. She had breakfast with her friends. I decided, like, oh, perfect, I'll go ahead and have some me time. I was listening to an audiobook while I went to one of my favorite restaurants, like just by myself, and I had some me time. And she had some her time with her friends. So there's me, there's her, and then there's a circle combining, like there's us. And that space is obviously important. We feel that at times, and maybe it's not like this for everybody, but it is common that if you spend like 24/7 every single minute of the day with your significant other, you lose your identity to an extent. Maybe you forget who you are, and then at some point your friends invite you to go eat or hang out, and then it's like, oh, why are you hanging out with them? Why not with me? And so it's just important to us to have that space, and that's what works for us.
Yeah, it's about having that self-identity, always knowing who you are. Like, I absolutely love spending time with him, but it also makes me miss him, like when he goes away on like business meetings for the weekend, like I'm just like, oh my god, that was so long. And he'll tease me now. He's like, well, I'm leaving on this weekend. And he's like, I'm going to Texas. And then I'm just kidding, it's in Anaheim, that type of stuff. Like, but we both have like our own friends. We have, things that, he loves basketball and volleyball. So that's what he does, like on his time. I love arts and crafts, so I'll go over to my cousins and we paint stuff, or we'll come here. So we both have different things. He's not into arts and crafts like that. We have our different things that we like, and we meet each other in the middle, but we never forget who we really are.
Another one that's very important is support. So in our earlier years of our relationship, I used to travel around the world as a professional dancer very often, sometimes 2 to 3 times in a month, at times even every single weekend. And I would spend very little time in our earlier years, or compared to now that I don't travel as much, with Stephanie. But she always supported me and had my back unconditionally. She knew that it wouldn't always be like that. It was just, an experience and for my business in the time being.
Yeah, and for sure for that, I'm blanking out.
It's okay. It's okay, guys. It's not about perfection. You know what I mean? We're talking about support here. Support.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, back. And from little things to I need to be taking supplements daily because of what I have. He does green juices for me. He doesn't have to, but those little things. He literally physically is support. Yeah, he's choosing to do that, and that means so much. And supporting me, and my whole health saga. He's been there, and it's never been you do this and I do that. So it's just kind of, again, that communication and just really being there for each other as partners.
So communication, respect, support, space. Oh, quality time.
Yeah. So tonight is date night.
Yeah. Looks so sexy, girl.
So we actually make it our deal whether we're able to go out for the week. Sometimes we don't, so we'll just have candle lit dinners. Whatever it is it's our time.
Or candlelight sexy time.
It's time for no phones. It's time for I'm not gonna nag him over a million things, because no one wants to sit through a dinner where they're being nagged for everything wrong that they're doing.
You've seen it happen next to us.
Yes, it's oh my god. But anyways, it's no phones, absolutely no fighting, no nagging, no talking about our, what's next, what bills are due, what's our next move. It was just really about let's focus on us. So those are the kind of the ground rules of date night.
And sometimes it's not about spending 6 hours or 10 hours in a day. It could be 30 minutes. Maybe you both of you had a long day, but if you spend even just 10 minutes of quality time connecting, hey, how was your day? How can I support you? What's going on? Things like that. It's not about the quantity. It's about the quality time that you spend with each other. Again, just focused, phones to the side and just one-on-one.
Yeah, so those are our tips.
Yeah, guys, so if you could think of whatever other thing is important in your relationship, whether you're in one now or you're going to in the future, just comment below. We want to interact with you guys, and we always reply to the comments. Again, comment below with the 6th one that you feel is important to you. Make sure you subscribe above so that you can be notified every time we upload a video. And then in the description below, we're going to put our Instagram so you guys can follow us on our daily Jorphany journey.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.